Virgo, this August 2026 reading feels deeply emotional already. Like there is a soul message coming through about someone who truly loves you. And I want you to sit with that for just a moment because the feeling reached me before the words ever did. Before I could shape a single sentence, there was this warmth pressing in from somewhere close, steady, and impossible to mistake for anything else. The way a whole room quietly changes the instant someone who matters walks into it. That is where we begin tonight. Not with a story I am about to invent for you, but with a presence I can already feel leaning in your direction, patient and full, waiting to be recognized. So take one slow breath with me before we go deeper. Let your shoulders drop. Let the noise of the day fall away from you, because the energy gathering around you right now is anything but ordinary, and I want you soft enough to actually receive it. The very first thing that surfaces is their attention. Not a passing glance, not a moment of idle curiosity, but attention that keeps returning to you, the way water always finds the same low place in the ground. You have lived in their mind far more often than you would ever guess. Somewhere out there, in the middle of the most ordinary hour, your name drifts through their thoughts and quietly rearranges everything else around it, as if nothing can quite hold its shape once you have entered the frame. When I sit down to read for you here at Spiritual Light Tarot, I have learned to trust the very first thing that arrives. And the first thing arriving tonight is almost startling in its simplicity. Someone cannot stop thinking about you. It is not theatrical, it is not loud, it is constant. And constant, I promise you, is so much stronger than loud will ever be. What comes next is the way these thoughts of you arrive without their permission. They are not sitting down and deciding to think of you. You appear in the pauses, in the silence between one task and the next, in the soft blur right before sleep takes them, in the middle of a conversation that had absolutely nothing to do with you. And suddenly there you are, uninvited and entirely welcome, taking up a space they never planned to give away to anyone. That is not something a person can manufacture. That is something a person surrenders to. Here is something I need you to hear clearly, because I do not think you have let yourself believe it. The version of you living inside their mind is luminous. They do not see you in the tired, unforgiving way you sometimes see yourself in a mirror at the end of a long day. They notice the things about you that you long ago stopped noticing. The way you laugh when you forget to hold it back. The particular shape of your voice when you are finally being honest about something. A small gesture you make without thinking, a movement of your hands, a tilt of your head that they turn over in their memory far more often than would ever seem reasonable. And then there is the pull. I have to be honest with you about it, because it sits right at the very front of this energy and it refuses to be polite about itself. There is a physical magnetism inside this connection that is almost impossible for them to ignore. When you are near them, something tightens and leans and quietly aches to close the distance between your body and theirs. It is chemistry in the oldest sense of the word. The kind that does not stop to ask the mind for permission before it starts moving through the body. The kind that shows up in a suddenly quicker heartbeat and a mouth that forgets what it was going to say. And notice what happens inside them, even at a distance, when you are not anywhere near. Just the thought of seeing you again stirs a restlessness they cannot quite sit still inside, a quickening. A lightness that lifts in the chest at the mere possibility of your presence. It is the particular kind of anticipation a person only ever feels for someone who has become an event in their life rather than an ordinary part of it. You are not background to them. You are the quiet thing the whole day keeps organizing itself around, whether they have admitted that to themselves yet or not. What draws them toward you is not one single obvious thing. It is a combination that feels almost cruelly custom made to undo them. Your presence has a temperature to it, a warmth that makes them want to linger far longer than they should. Your energy has a texture they cannot name, but cannot stop reaching for. They crave your closeness in a way that genuinely surprises them, because they did not expect to want anyone this completely, this early, this deep, Somewhere along the way, you stopped being a person they simply notice and became the person they measure every room against. And it is the smallest, most specific things about you that hold them the tightest. The way your eyes stay with a moment a beat longer than most people's do. The particular curve your mouth makes right before you smile, when the smile has already arrived somewhere inside you but has not yet reached your face. The way you move through a room, unhurried, as though you belong wherever you happen to be standing. Even the sound of your voice does something to them that they cannot quite explain, settling into them, staying with them long after the actual words have faded. None of these are grand things. They are yours. And that is exactly what makes them impossible for this person to shake. There is a particular hunger in the way they long for your attention. And I mean that in the gentlest, most human way. When you turn your focus toward them, even briefly, even by accident, something quietly lights up in them and holds onto it for the rest of the day. Your approval means far more to them than they would ever want to admit out loud. A single warm word from you can carry them further than 100 from anyone else. That is the strange, tender power you hold in this connection, whether or not you have ever once felt yourself holding it. Watch how they behave when you are actually in front of them, because their body tells the truth. Their words are too careful to speak. There is a nervous brightness that comes over them, an over-attentiveness, a sudden awareness of every small thing they do. They laugh a little too quickly at what you say. They find reasons to keep the moment going a beat longer than it needs to last. And in the very same breath, they go strangely guarded. Because being this affected by someone is not a feeling they know how to wear casually in front of you. And it does not stay neatly contained to the moments when you are actually in the room. Your name has a quiet way of finding its way into their conversations when you are nowhere nearby. A friend mentions something ordinary, and somehow it circles back around to you. They bring you up a little too easily, a little too often. And the people closest to them have started to notice the way their whole face changes the instant you come up. They may not have confessed a single thing out loud, but the ones who truly know them can already read it plainly, the way you read weather in the sky. And I need you to notice this next part, because it is the heart of everything. It is you, not someone like you, not a type, not a convenient placeholder for a feeling they could just as easily find somewhere else. It is your attention they want on them, your eyes finding theirs across a room, your particular and unrepeatable way of being alive in the world. That is precisely what makes this so intense. Somewhere below the level of conscious thought, they have already decided that no one else quite lands the way you do, and no one else ever really has. There is a striking contrast running through this person, and once you see it, you will understand their silence completely. On the outside, they can appear so composed, measured, even a little unreadable, like they have everything under control. But inside, where only they can feel it, there is a storm with your name on it. That gap between the calm they show the world and the turbulence they hide is exactly how much this matters to them. People stay calm on the surface only when the thing underneath is powerful enough to frighten them. Let me take you back to the moment it first turned for them, because I can feel that this attraction did not build slowly and gently the way these things sometimes do. There was a moment, a specific one, a time when they looked at you and something shifted that could not be shifted back. Maybe you said something that landed differently than you intended. Maybe you were simply being yourself, unaware, unguarded, real. And in that instant, a door opened in them that they have not been able to close since, no matter how hard a part of them has tried. Now, if there has been distance between you, if there has been a silence you did not understand, I want to reframe it for you before it hardens into a story you tell yourself on your lonelier nights. That quiet was never the absence of feeling, it was the exact opposite. The feeling grew so large, so fast, that they simply did not trust themselves to handle it lightly. People do not go quiet over what they can easily take or leave. They go quiet over the one thing that could genuinely change them. Their silence was not you being forgotten. Their silence was you mattering too much. So let yourself picture the tension they have been carrying. One hand reaching for their phone, the other hand pulling it back. A message typed out and deleted more times than they would ever confess to another living soul. They want to tell you. They ache to tell you. And they have been quietly terrified of getting it wrong, because when something matters this much, the fear of ruining it grows right alongside the wanting until the two feelings are so tangled together they can hardly move. Let me show you just how deep their attention actually runs, because this is where I think you will finally feel it. They remember details most people would never catch. Something you wore on a day you have long since forgotten. A phrase you used once, offhand, that they still repeat inside their own head like a line they cannot let go of. The mood you were in on an afternoon you were certain no one was really watching. They have been paying you the kind of attention that only comes from someone who has quietly, privately decided that you are important. And there is one particular moment they keep returning to. I cannot hand you the exact scene, but I trust that you will feel the shape of it as I trace its outline for you. A moment when something passed between the two of you, brief and electric, maybe only a few seconds long. You may have brushed it off entirely, told yourself you imagined it, filed it away as nothing. They did not. They have replayed it more times than they could ever count, searching it over and over for the proof that you felt the current too, that it was not only running through them. They've quietly kept some small piece of you too. It might be a message you sent long ago that they never once thought to delete, one they scroll back and find when they think no one would ever understand why. It might be a photo, a small memory, a single sentence you said in passing that they have preserved word for word inside their mind. Whatever it is, they treat it like something precious, returning to it in private the way a person returns to a warm light on a cold night. You are not a passing thought that drifts through and leaves them. You are something they have deliberately chosen to hold on to. Here's something that might surprise you. They have tried to move on from this. They have tried to talk themselves out of it, to be reasonable, to look elsewhere, to let their attention rest on someone simpler, someone safer, someone who does not make them feel so exposed. And every single time, they have found themselves comparing that person to you and coming away hollow. You have become the standard they did not choose and cannot seem to lower. Everyone else keeps arriving a little too dim next to the memory of you. And there is a reason all of this is surfacing with such force now, rather than at some other point along the way. The timing has quietly ripened. Something inside them has shifted. Some old hesitation has finally worn thin, and the feelings they managed to keep at a careful, manageable distance have grown too insistent to keep ignoring. What could stay unspoken before simply cannot stay unspoken for much longer. The season has already changed inside them, even if nothing at all has changed yet on the surface, and it is that hidden internal turning that is now pressing everything gently toward you. You have even reached them in their sleep. I feel that you have appeared in their dreams, uninvited by their waking mind, showing up in scenes they did not write and could not control. And there is something quietly undoing about that. Because a person can guard their words and manage their behavior and hide their glances all day long, but no one gets to decide who walks through their dreams at night. Some part of them has been keeping company with you in a place where all their defenses simply do not reach. You have quietly rewritten the way they experience the most ordinary things. A certain song comes on somewhere, and their thoughts go straight to you without asking. They pass a place the two of you once stood together, and something in their chest pulls tight. A word, a color, a particular quality of light at the end of the day, and suddenly there you are again, unbidden, filling the space. You have become woven into the fabric of their everyday world so that even when you are nowhere near them, small ordinary pieces of the day keep quietly handing them back to you. There is something protective in them too, a quiet current that rises whenever your attention happens to drift towards someone else. It is not a heavy thing and it is not a possessive one. It is closer to the soft ache of watching something you care about from a distance you placed there yourself. When they picture you laughing with someone else, choosing someone else, leaning towards someone else, a part of them tightens with the simple wish that it were them making you laugh instead. That quiet ache is nothing more than the shape of how badly they want to be the one you turn toward first. And here's what tells me, without any doubt, that this is real and not merely heat. Underneath all the wanting, there is respect. They do not only desire you, they admire you. This attraction has roots that run far past the surface, down into something that genuinely recognizes who you are as a person. That combination, wanting you and honoring you at the very same time, is rarer than you know, and it is unmistakably present in what I am feeling from them right now. In the private architecture of their mind, you have already quietly become their person. Not in any way that has been said aloud, not in anything that has been made official between you, but in the simple, unguarded certainty of how they think. When something good happens to them, you are the one they instinctively want to tell first. When something is heavy or hard, you are the one whose voice they imagine would somehow make it lighter. Long before any of this has ever been spoken, they have already, somewhere deep inside, folded you into the very center of their days. This is exactly the kind of energy that so many people come to Spiritual Light Tarot hoping someone will finally name out loud for them, because they can sense it humming underneath everything and cannot quite let themselves believe it is true. So let me say it to you plainly, with nothing softened. You are wanted, fully, specifically, and far, far more than has ever been spoken aloud in your presence. Now feel how something is shifting in them, because this is where the whole reading turns. The part of them that kept this hidden away is growing tired of the hiding. The weight of holding it all in has finally started to cost them more than the risk of letting it out ever could. I can feel a decision forming inside them, slow and deliberate, the way a person quietly gathers their courage in the moments before they finally say the thing they have been holding on their tongue for far too long. Sit with the word want for a moment, because I think it has been worn thin by overuse, and it deserves so much better than that here. To want someone the way this person wants you is not a shallow or simple thing. It is to keep circling back to them when there is no reason left to. It is to feel the whole day tilt slightly toward wherever they happen to be. It is to notice their absence in a room that is full of other people. That is the kind of wanting alive in this connection. Not a craving that quietly fades the moment it is fed, but a pull that keeps reasserting itself again and again, no matter how firmly they try to set it down and walk away. If they could speak to you right now, honestly, with absolutely nothing left to lose, I can feel the words waiting underneath their silence. That they think about you far more than is reasonable. That you have gotten beneath their skin in a way they never planned for and cannot undo. That the pull they feel toward you is not some passing phase they are patiently waiting out, but something that has quietly woven itself into the way they move through their days, coloring hours you were never even part of. They have rehearsed conversations with you that never actually happened. Whole exchanges played out in the quiet privacy of their own head, where they finally manage to say the brave thing and you answer the way they hope you might. It is a strangely tender habit, this silent practicing, and it tells you something real. People do not rehearse for the encounters that mean nothing to them. They rehearse for the ones they cannot afford to fumble, for the moments they need, more than almost anything, to somehow get right. I can almost make out the shape of the moment they finally say it, and it is softer than you might expect. Not some grand cinematic declaration with the world holding its breath, but something quieter and far more real than that. A pause that lasts a little too long. A look that carries more than the words that manage to follow it. The truth arriving in a voice that trembles just slightly because they will be nervous, because it will matter to them more than almost anything they have said in a very long time. When it finally comes, you will feel the sincerity of it before you have even finished hearing the words themselves. And I want to lift this higher for a moment, because the way this reading is framed might tempt you to think it is only about the body. It is not. Yes, the desire is real and it is strong, and I am not going to pretend otherwise or talk around it. But underneath the craving, there is something that feels almost like recognition, as though a part of them looked at you once and understood something it had been quietly searching for without knowing what it was. The attraction is only the doorway. What waits behind that door is far deeper than heat. Even your name carries a certain weight for them now. There is a particular way a name comes to settle differently in the mouth once the person it belongs to has grown to mean this much. When they say it, or even only think it, it is no longer some neutral little sound they pass over without noticing. It arrives warm. It arrives quietly loaded with everything they feel and have not yet found the courage to say. That small shift, a name that used to be ordinary, slowly becoming something they can almost no longer say casually, is one of the surest signs of just how deep this has gone in them. You live inside their imagination in a way that would genuinely stun you if you could see it. Not as some distant fantasy they keep at arm's length, but as a presence woven right into their private idea of what good would actually feel like. When they picture ease, comfort, being fully and finally seen by another person, your face keeps appearing inside the frame without ever meaning to. You have become their quiet shorthand for a kind of happiness they want badly and have not yet let themselves reach for out loud. And when they let themselves imagine actually being close to you, it is not only the heat of it that their mind reaches for, it is the ordinary tenderness of it, slow mornings that no one is rushing. Conversations that run late into the night without either of you wanting them to end. The simple, quiet comfort of being fully known by another person and still wanted completely anyway. That is the future their imagination keeps returning to when they let their guard down. And you are unmistakably at the very center of every version of it they have ever allowed themselves to picture. So let this settle all the way down into you. To be wanted like this, with this much intensity and this much tenderness resting underneath it, says something true about who you are. It says you carry a light that is not easy for anyone to look away from. You may have wondered lately, in your quieter moments, whether you were truly being seen by anyone at all. This reading is your answer. You were seen the entire time, far more closely than you knew, by someone who simply could not bring themselves to stop looking at you. So if there have been long stretches where you felt overlooked, where you quietly wondered whether your warmth was ever landing on anyone at all, I want you to gently rewrite that story right now. You were not invisible in those moments. You were being noticed the whole time by someone who simply had not yet found the courage to let you catch them at it. The loneliness you may have carried was never actually the truth of your situation. It was only the truth of what had not yet been spoken. And what has not yet been said out loud is never the same thing as what is not there. And there is a thread running in the other direction that I would be dishonest to leave out. Your own energy has been reaching toward them too, quietly, maybe without your full awareness of it. On the nights you felt a strange, unexplained pull to check your phone. On the days a certain someone crossed your mind for no reason you could point to. That was never random noise. Two signals were finding one another in the dark long before either of you dared to say a single word out loud. This connection was never one-sided, even when it felt that way to you. I think you have spent a very long time quietly underestimating the effect you have on people and on this person most of all. You move through the world half assuming you go largely unnoticed, that your presence is a small and quiet thing that leaves no real mark behind it. It is not. You leave an impression that lingers long after you have walked away. People carry the feeling of you with them into rooms you will never enter. And the one this reading is about has been carrying that feeling for far longer and holding it far more tenderly than you have ever once let yourself imagine was possible. Let me tell you what it will feel like when the distance between you finally closes, because I can feel that a meeting of some kind is coming. The air between you two will carry a charge. The silences will not be empty, awkward things. They will be loaded, humming, thick with everything neither of you has said yet. You will feel the pull the very moment you are near each other again. That quiet gravity that makes the rest of the room fall out of focus. And some part of you will already understand exactly what it means. And there is a vulnerability threaded through all of this that has genuinely humbled them. Caring about someone this much strips away a certain armor a person prefers to keep firmly in place. It puts something precious out on the line. Somewhere it could be dropped. They are not used to feeling this exposed, this affected, this unable to simply reason their way back into indifference. But rather than hardening them against you, the way you make them feel has softened them, opened them, reminded them what it actually is to want something with their whole chest instead of holding the entire world at a safe and careful arm's length. And this is not some fleeting spark that will burn itself out the very moment it is finally acknowledged. That is the part I most want you to trust. Some attractions are bright and brief, gone almost as quickly as they arrive, leaving nothing behind. This one has weight to it. It has stayed alive through silence, through distance, through every reasonable attempt they made to let it quietly fade, and still it did not fade. Anything that has endured that much and survived is not going to simply vanish the instant it steps into the light. It has already proven, again and again, exactly how long it is willing to wait for you. This person has been changed by wanting you, and I do not think you realize how much feeling this way about someone has made them want to be better, softer, more honest with themselves than they were before you. There is a protectiveness in how they hold the thought of you, a tenderness that surprises even them. This is not a careless wanting that would treat you carelessly. This is the kind of longing that quietly makes a person want to become someone worthy of the one they long for. What moves me most about this whole energy is the way the desire and the devotion live side by side in them without ever competing. The wanting does not cheapen the caring, and the caring does not cool the wanting. The two exist together, feeding one another, and that is precisely how you can know this is not some passing infatuation dressed up to look like something more. Infatuation tends to burn hot and shallow and then go cold. What I feel here burns just as warm, but it reaches so much deeper into the ground beneath it, into the kind of soil where things actually take root and last. What is arriving now is movement. The distance that has lived between you is not permanent, and I can feel it beginning to close in real time. A gesture, a word, a moment where the wall they so carefully built around this feeling finally comes down, and you get to look at the truth of it face to face at last. And when it comes, it will not feel forced or strange. It will feel like something that was always quietly going to happen, finally giving itself permission to. And when this finally opens up between you, I want you to notice how natural it will feel, almost anticlimactic in the very best possible way. Not because it does not matter, but because on some quiet level, it will feel like arriving somewhere the two of you already knew you were headed all along. The awkwardness you might be bracing yourself for will not really come. In its place, there will be a strange, warm ease, the unmistakable sense of two people finally saying out loud the thing the air between them had already been saying softly for a long, long while. Your only real work in this season is to stay open, not to chase. Not to force, not to shrink any part of yourself down to make things easier or smaller for anyone else. Simply to keep being the person whose warmth set all of this into motion in the first place. The energy is already moving on its own. You do not have to push the river along its way. You only have to stop pretending you cannot feel the current pulling underneath you. So as all of this unfolds in its own time, keep tending to your own light rather than standing and watching the door. Do the things that make you feel most fully like yourself. Let yourself be happy in ways that have nothing at all to do with them, because that unguarded, self-possessed version of you is precisely the one they cannot look away from. The more completely you belong to yourself, the more magnetic you quietly become, and the more inevitable this whole thing gently turns. Your joy is not a distraction from what is coming. Your joy is part of what is drawing it towards you. And if a part of you is afraid to hope, I understand that fear completely, and I want to gently set it down for you here. Hope is not naive in this reading. Hope is accurate. Everything I am feeling points toward warmth, toward being chosen, toward a connection that holds far more life inside it than you have allowed yourself to believe. You are permitted to want this in return. Wanting it does not make you foolish or weak. It makes you honest. And honesty is the very thing that made you magnetic to them in the first place. And let me say one more gentle thing about the intensity of being wanted like this, in case it feels like a great deal to hold all at once. It is safe here. You do not have to brace yourself against it, and you do not have to shrink away from it. This is not a longing that wants to take something from you, or use you, or leave you smaller than it found you. It is one that wants to give, to cherish, to finally offer you the whole of what it has been holding back for so long. You are allowed to relax into being adored. You are allowed to let it feel good without guarding yourself against it. Understand that you hold real power here, and I want you to keep it. You are not standing on the outside of this, hoping to be let in. You are the center of it. You are the reason someone is currently gathering their courage instead of going about their ordinary day in peace. So when the moment comes, and it is coming, you do not have to grab at it out of scarcity or fear. You get to receive it from a place of knowing exactly what you are worth. And I want to gently loosen one last belief before we finish, because I can feel it sitting somewhere inside you. You do not have to earn this. Love that has to be earned is not really love at all. It is a quiet transaction, and that is not what is moving towards you now. What is coming is something offered freely, drawn out by nothing more complicated than who you already are when you are not even trying. You are not being asked to prove yourself worthy of it first. You already are worthy of it, simply and completely, exactly as you are standing right now, with nothing added and nothing fixed. As we bring this reading from Spiritual Light Tarot gently toward its close, I want you to carry one single image out of here with you. Someone, somewhere, in the middle of an entirely ordinary moment, thinking of you with a softness they have kept carefully hidden and slowly, steadily running out of reasons to keep it hidden any longer. That image is not a wish I am handing you. It is a truth I am simply describing. So hear this clearly before you go. You are not waiting to be wanted. You already are. The only thing left to unfold now is the moment they finally gather the courage to show you the full size of it. And when that moment does arrive, remember that you get to choose too. You are not the one anxiously hoping to be picked from a crowd. You are the one whose presence made another person forget how to stay away, forget how to look elsewhere, forget every reason they had for keeping their distance. Breathe that in and let it be true, because it is. This message came through so emotional right from the start for a reason. Somewhere out there, someone is quietly in love with the effect you have on them, with the way the world feels warmer when you are in it, and they are closer than they have ever been to letting you finally know. So until we meet again in the next reading, stay open, stay warm, and trust every bit of what you felt the moment this one began.